Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Everyday How-Tos. This is November 26, 2023. I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. Lots to be super thankful for sure for myself. So hope folks got to spend some time with family and get some rested time. I just want to jump on here, look at what the charts are looking like this week, and I'll prep up a little bit for that. So again, just showing a little bit about what I'm doing. Going to keep it short and sweet again today. One of the things I started doing too was I started looking into trying some other pairs. I was really getting probably ahead of myself doing some of the faster pairs. And over this past week or two, I was starting to realize like I actually like focusing, or not focusing, but being more mindful of the high time frames. I think I shared a little bit about that, just kind of setting up my charts based on the high time frames, but just being also a little bit more mindful of some of the pairs as well that move a little bit more consistently, a little bit slower. I think I probably got ahead of myself looking at some of the faster pairs, like maybe NAS, well, not pairs, but indices like NAS, or maybe even gold, some of the faster ones. But I think I kind of took a second to step back a little bit. Definitely because I'm still in learning mode right now. Still got a lot to learn, and I was looking back at Euro, USD, GBP, USD. USD CAD has always kind of been a pair that I find myself doing fairly well in, and it's probably because it moves a little bit more slower and consistently than what I was trying to do. And then Audi, USD. So I'm going to kind of focus on these a little bit more in these coming weeks and get my chart set up accordingly. Again, I think I kind of shared that I was starting to do some more focus and look out. I'm on the weekly right now. And I think for right now, you could tell everything is going in the upward direction over these last, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. You had 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of these 7. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4 out of the 7 candles have been moving up. So I'm gonna look in that direction for trades that I may do. You can see the daily here is also doing the same thing. I kind of did my trend lines based on the daily. I kind of had a trend here. I learned a little bit about doing multiple trend lines to kind of help your mind and see where direction is going. So we have one trend here on these kind of these 3 kind of drops here. So everything's kind of going that way, but then you see price kind of takes an upturn here. So so I initially caught that. So this second line is capturing this trend. Honestly, yeah, that second line is capturing kind of when price kind of was going consistently on this slope, and then it went up this way, right? And then this candle here is this trend line here is capturing more of this more steeper slope. So if it kind of breaks out of this, I'll just focus on these other trend lines that are here for right now. So so I'm just looking at the chart and trying to get a good idea. So that's probably where I'll focus. The weekly and the daily are going up, so I'll probably just look for buys this week. And then when I go down to the 4-hour, again, it's kind of taking this time doing the same thing. And then the 1 hour is where I'll probably look a little bit more, maybe for entries. Probably look for entries between the 1 hour and probably the 5-minute, depending on where I'm at. I know that's a big jump, but probably the 1 hour to 15 and the 5-minute is where I'll kind of look for like entries. So if I go to the 1 hour and I don't see like a good pattern or a good or if I don't see a good signal or more of a telltale sign, I'll go down to the 15 minute and probably look for more patterns or look for how this moving average is operating. Before I was using I don't like to have a whole lot of indicators, but before I was using the VWAP as the only indicator. So the VWAP does the kind of like an average of the volume over the last few candles. And it kind of has kind of like almost like a similar moving average line. But then I learned a little bit about the moving average. So I'm just playing with that a little bit this week, seeing how these lines cross, you know, like this gray line, for example. When the gray line is above the orange line, you know, price is kind of moving up. When they kind of flatten out, obviously that's consolidation like here. And then if it crosses and the gray line is below, the orange is above, then price is moving down. So I'm just looking, I guess what I'm looking for and where I'm trying a couple of these other things is just, I'm just looking to build more of a catalog of confluences for myself, more good confluences without having a bunch of indicators. I don't really care to have. I like the concept of naked trading, where you don't really have a bunch of indicators. You more so use like your trend lines and things like that. But I heard the moving average was probably one good thing to look at. And when I was doing some back testing, I saw, you know, it is kind of good. Like when price comes and starts to shift down, like if you're at a key level and you see those lines cross and you see a signal or like a reverse candle pattern, and you see, you know, it's kind of moving or breaking out of a trend line or something like that, it just kind of adds an additional confluence for me. I'm not a big volume guy, but I did learn a little bit about volume. So I'm trying to see, reason why I have this of what they call VSA, volume spread for VSA. Reason why I kind of have this here, this represents for a given candle, if the volume during that candle, you know, what the volume was. So this is, it can be very low volume is in the blue, average is the green, yellow is high volume, and red is ultra high volume. So I'd like to make volume and maybe like a moving average like this more of part of the confluences that I use just to help me confirm. And let me see if I can find like an example. So this is on the 15th. So let's go to the 1 hour. Let's see a point where price changed. Let's just even say here. I won't try to do it right at the line, but let's say, well, no, actually I do want to do it here because I do want to do it like as if it was hitting a zone. Like how on the 1 hour it's hitting this zone right here. You saw it bounced up a couple of times, but it's on the 1 hour hitting this zone. You can see price went up. Let's see if I wanted to play with the replay. Let's try that. Okay, let's try to play with the replay, see how that works. So you can see the gray was going and price was moving down. Maybe if I was at this point right here, I'd probably go ahead and maybe highlight this area just to kind of keep an eye on it. Probably highlight this area and see what price it does, right? I'm looking to see one, at what point do these lines cross? And right now the gray line is on the bottom. At what point would it cross and the gray would be on the top? And then looking for any like, you know, maybe signals down here. And then also the fact that I don't know if at this point I would have had a trend line. Yeah, at this point you would have had a bounce here. Maybe you would have had a trend line going like here, right? Hitting these three at this point. So I think at this point, I probably would have had a trend line that looks more like this. I'll kind of change the color. Yeah, I probably had a more of a trend line like this. Probably have a bigger one. Yeah, we're kind of ignoring. Yeah, probably trend line will probably be more like this. Probably ignoring, because you got to hit that second line. So I'll just change this color just because I'm using that as an example. I probably would have had a trend line like this. And so I'm pretty much saying that this is already breaking this trend line, right? So is it gonna reverse? So I'm breaking the trend line, but I'm at a key area that I highlighted from the higher date from the daily time frame. I'm at a key level right here. So let's say I'm kind of thinking in my mind, okay, this is going to reverse. I'm thinking, what would I look for? So I let price run a little bit. Sorry, it's too quick. Let price run a little bit. I saw that it had like a little jump there. Yeah, so it had a little jump there. So you had it bounce here, had a little jump. I'm trying to think, does that look like a signal that I would jump on? Let's say we went down to the 15-minute. Okay, the 15 minutes there. So on the 15-minute, that looks a little bit better because you see, on the 15-minute, maybe that looks a little bit better. So on the 15-minute, you kind of almost have like this engulfing candle here. So you have it hitting the zone, right? So it already broke the trend line, right? So we're still looking to see if it's going to bounce back from that trend line, because price doesn't have to hit the trend line exactly and bounce back. It could go outside of it a little bit and then go back up. So obviously here we see it's already going back up on the 15-minute. So you could see that it bounced, and it kind of has pretty much an engulfing candle here. I'm still trying to get used to some of the patterns, but this seems like it's close enough to an engulfing pattern here. So this is kind of like a signal, right, to get in. Then you can see here that the moving average lines have crossed. So let's even back it up a little bit more. So let's say I was literally like right there, right, on the 15-minute. And let's say we played it a little bit. So it did that. This, from what I understand, is a good signal that price is reversing. Plus you have it making this almost like this W here. So it came down up here, came down, and W is a reversal signal or a reversal pattern. And then you have this candlestick here that's like an engulfing candle pattern. That's another kind of signal. You have the moving average crossing over. So when the moving average crosses over, it's going to be another indicator that price is going to change direction. So we're at the zone here where we're expecting price to either break through it or bounce back, right? So in this case, it's giving us a signal to bounce back. So we could potentially get in here on a, let's say we even waited until that candle closed. Let's say we got in, we could potentially get in on a buy or go long there, probably come down a little bit further here. I'm still working on my entries, so don't hold me to it if I didn't have the best entries, but we see we got a pretty good zone all the way up here. So maybe we could go for the money on kind of close to the peak of this level here, right? That's a good that's a good 3-to-1 potential play right there, or potential trade. So if we were to go that route, let's see how it will play out. So we're calling this a good trade. Again, we got convergence. We got convergences here, or our confluences here. We're at the zone. We're at a key level. We have the moving averages crossing over. And then we have the W pattern forming here. And then we have the engulfing signal here. That's enough. And then again, if I'm trying to use volume as an indicator as well, you got ultra high volume right here. But the candle that it's on, let me move this real quick. But the candle that it's on is not showing the same effort, right? So this is showing ultra high volume here, but this candle isn't representing that, right? It's representing, like, the body of this candle is nowhere in sync with this ultra high volume candle, right? So this could be an indication as well that, you know, this is going to do something. It's not going to continue in this bearish pattern. And then you see right away on the next candle, it kind of took this big push with buyers coming in. So it's probably safe to say that these volumes here, or the volumes for these next candles has a lot of more buying momentum behind them, right? So you can see 1, 2, 3, ultra high volume is coming in. So we could, again, choose to get in on that play. You know, I can be conservative, put my stop loss a little bit further down here, just for the heck of it. And then let's see if it plays out and goes back to this next higher level up here that I saw. Okay, so it's pushing. This is what I'm just trying to play with a little bit more. Get a better feel of how to make the most out of these trades and not just take any old trade. You know, I want to get more confluences in my trade and more things to give me confidence. I know, you know, I like having a good setup. I don't want like 20 different indicators on my on my chart, but you know, I do want to have something where, hey, I'm looking at this thing and I got some other stuff that's backing me up and making me have some confidence. Right? So it's pushing up. Bam, so it hit it. I like that. Yeah, so I like that. So it pushed and hit it, you know, and it went all the way up to kind of, I just put it below this level. I don't like to put it exactly, but that's still a pretty much a 1 to 3. 1, 4, 8, just about a 3-to-1 play. So I think that's good, you know, and maybe if I was just taking partial profit, maybe I don't stop the trade there. Maybe I let it keep going and see. But yeah, I mean, right on the money, and then it ducked back down. Let's see if it continues down or not. Okay. Kind of push back up. Okay, that's nice. It went back up eventually. So that would have been cool. If it pushed back up to and broke this level here, that would have been kind of cool. So could have probably gotten 1 to 3 right there, or, you know, took a good portion of my profit there. And if I was feeling like, hey, I wanted to let this run a little bit, then, you know, could probably have brought my stop loss up to this next low here, took some partial profit, bring my stop loss up and see. And it did it. I could have let it just fly. You know, I wouldn't be losing anything at that point. I already took some profit, and then I pushed my stop loss up. Maybe take 50% profit, leave the rest, and then see it push up. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and then it just went. Again, yeah, I'd use the, you know, again, we could have played with that. Maybe after it kind of did this, maybe after it did this retracement here, maybe you could have pushed your stop loss up to here, you know, see if it could get up a little higher. You know, I'm just trying to look for ways just to really just test myself in the market and know that, you know, I could kind of play with things a little bit and let the market work for me in the best way. You know, I think one of my things that I'm trying to do better is stop getting in on trades so late. I really want to be better at like this entry that we looked at. And again, that's why I kind of played a little bit with this volume, because I'm trying to back test and see. You know, I saw some training on, you know, using like a volume indicator like this to help indicate when there's real movement in the market and things like that. I kind of like it, but I haven't used it to the best of my ability. But it seems to be really good from what I'm playing with so far. If you're at a key level, you're anticipating some type of reversal or either for it to break through and you're trying to judge which way it's going to go. You know, I kind of like it there as a second reference point, or as an additional reference point. And then I don't mind the moving averages. I like that this crossed here, for example, and right when it pushed up, then that it crossed, and it kind of gave me an idea like, okay, we could see here that it did do a little cross right here before, but I didn't have as much of a signal here, right? At least on the 15-minute and on the 1 hour, I didn't have a signal right here. Like there was no pattern, candle pattern that I identified with to do that. So I'm trying to use all of those things together, like see some type of signal and see, you know, the moving average crossover, you know, and see that I got volume working with me. So right here, we had volume working with us. We saw ultra high volume here too. We also saw it crossed over. So we could have made this, but I didn't really have a signal that I saw. I didn't see a reversal signal in terms of the candle formation. I'm sorry, the candle pattern. So maybe those things, I want to have that all working together and give me the confidence that, hey, I'm getting in. And even if I got in on this trade, I mean, we would have been okay. Like we would have gotten on this trade, and based on what we're seeing here, unless something crazy happened, we would have probably just came here, bounced. I probably would have put my stop loss down here somewhere, like how I showed you before, and it would have kind of bounced here. So, you know, no love lost on that. If I felt like, hey, the volume and the pattern crossing here, because this is what we would have seen if that was the case, right? We would have seen price come here, and we would have been like, oh, like, is it going to cross? We would have waited. Oh, we would have seen a nice little jump right there. And then we saw the cross. See the lines cross right there? We would have saw the lines cross. Maybe you would have said, hey, that's good. You know, and maybe we would have said, you know, maybe we would have said, hey, let's get in here. Or maybe I would have tried to get in on here and then bring my stop loss. Maybe I'll bring it down here somewhere and then look for that other high again, or that last level. And we would have saw like, okay, it switched up on us. Kind of made us scratch our head a little bit. Oh man, took the trade wrong at the wrong time. But then you still see that this line is here. And yeah, that trend line that was here, that original trend line that I wrote right there, it would have pushed back off of that, and then we would have been off to the races. So that don't look bad at all to me. I'm going to continue to practice with this. Again, what I was looking for here was just more confluences that help me know when I'm starting off my trade. So I want to work on that for myself. In addition to, like I said earlier, working with pairs that are a little bit more steady for right now. I think I jumped ahead and started working with these real fast pairs like NAS and all of that. And they go really fast, and NAS was doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And, you know, I'm sure people are like banking on it because I see people, you know, working it. But I think for me, I need a lot more consistency at this stage and just steady movements at this stage. So let me work on that, and I'll see you all on the next one. Appreciate you all listening in. All right, again, this is Everyday How-Tos, November 26, 2023. And I'm signing off for now. All right, take it easy.